One of the main goals for UCI Brain is team science and interdisciplinarity. We've heard a lot about this so far today. And so one of the things that UCI Brain also wants to do is invest in resources that are going to allow you to do team science. And Dimensions is a platform that really helps you to formulate teams, find collaborators, as well as find funding that you might not otherwise know about that can fund your projects. So this is an example. I'm using screenshots for this presentation. This is Dimensions. What you see here, Dimensions is a system in which it pools various information. It actually has hundreds of partners that are international. It presents information and pools information about publications, grants, patents, clinical trials, policy documents. And if you were to go to Dimensions and try to access it, the publications is free. Anything that you want to look up and different kinds of ways that you want to look at the publications, anyone can do that. However, there's the real exciting capabilities of Dimensions are behind a paywall. And that's looking at grants, looking at patents, clinical trials, policy documents, but really the analytical views, which is over there on the far side from me. And so one of the things that UCI Brain is going to give is access to Dimensions, to these other aspects of Dimensions. How? If you go to the UCI Brain website and you push on the resources tab at the top, the first thing underneath that is Dimensions, and it'll bring up this page. And as you'll see at the bottom of this screenshot, how to access Dimensions is there. If you ask UCI Brain for access, you will within one business day most likely have a response in order to help you with that, to get into there. Also, there are different levels of access, and one of the things that UCI Brain is going to do is if you do submit for a pilot award and you receive it, you're going to have those greater capabilities to help you with with the team science work that you're doing, and even some of the competitive proposals that are not funded will also be able to have access to UCI Brain's subscription into Dimensions. There are other resources, and we've heard a little bit about this today besides Dimensions, and before I go into more about Dimensions, I do just want to bring your attention to a couple of additional resources. UCI's Team Science Consulting Services, there's information through through ICTS. Also, another resource that is mentioned a lot by Dan Stokel's, Judy Olson, Gary Olson, Maritza Salazar Campo, is this NCI, or National Cancer Institute, field guide on team science. And UCI Brain has hard copies of this document if you are interested. It's also available in PDF for download from the National Cancer Institute website. All right, so a little bit more about Dimensions. My favorite part is grants, since I'm Research Development Officer and I help faculty in the School of Biological Sciences get funding. One of the things I want to know is who has funding, where's it coming from, how many different grants, what size, and that's something I can get in an instant through Dimensions. What makes it different than other sites? If I go to NIH Reporter, I'm only learning about NIH. If I go to NSF, I only learn about NSF. Here, it's pulling internationally, foundations, federal agencies, and so I'm getting a full picture of an individual's funding, an individual's publications, and just who's working on what and how they're doing that. So the analytical view, before I go into the analytical view, if you were to push on, say, Alzheimer's Disease Research Center at University of California, it would then take you to more information about that, as well as it would take you to NIH. You could go out to NIH Reporter from Dimensions. I've limited my search to UCI, neurosciences, and ongoing funding, so that means funding that has not been completed yet. When I open analytical views, I push on research categories, and I choose bar chart. I get information about how many millions of dollars UC Irvine has in terms of neurosciences funding. They've broken it down in Dimensions into these different categories. It might be a little confusing what actually falls under these categories. So if you look over there where it says chart and table and click on the table view, you can actually drill down into what kinds of subcategories are in each of these larger headings in the bold. One of the other things that it has, and you can see this over on the side closest to me, there are different tabs in terms of getting an overview of funding. You can actually look at which researchers have how much money. If you were doing this and it was not limited to UCI, it would just tell you which research organizations are coming to the top. And you can also compare two institutions. So you could compare UC Irvine to UC San Diego, UCLA, or another institution to see how they both are operating on a particular topic or just in general. So one of the other analytical views here, what I did was to go into where it says overview. And these are two different shots, one of the chart and one of the table. Because I'm looking at ongoing grants, this is showing me all grants that are current today, shows me when they started. So of course you don't have many grants started in 2010 or 11 or 12 or 13 that are still ongoing today, because something like an R21 would have already completed if it started back then. But it also gives me an understanding of how many grants have started in the last couple of years, how many are of active grants in neurosciences at UCI there are currently. And then it has those different comparisons. If I were to take off ongoing, this would look more like a straight line. And it would show all of the funding that is completed as well as is ongoing in terms of neurosciences at UCI. So one last thing about UCI Brain and Dimensions, that you can learn more. One way to learn more is to come see me. I'll be sitting at the table outside. And as Mike said, I will look you up if you like. I looked myself up the other day and learned something about myself that I did not know. It was accurate. I mean, it was actually me. I just didn't know it. You can request access. Again, you can do that through the UCI Brain website, through the resources tab. And then there will be a tutorial in which the people from Dimensions will come here and give a training. And I am not paid for by Dimensions, but I'm a huge fan of Dimensions. So you can also, again, come see me anytime today. For most of the rest of the day, I will be sitting outside at the table with this up on my computer. I have full access, so you can see all the things that are behind the paywall and look yourself up, check something else out that you're interested in, and just come and ask questions. Thank you.